Think the universe isn't testing you? You're probably wrong. And here's why I think it is. What's up, everyone? Eric Allen, Life Absolutism channel, and I'm talking today about you being tested, right? What does that mean? What does it mean that we're being tested? Well, here's what I think, right? Life is much more than we imagine that it is. Truth be told, we don't really have any idea the full extent of life and death. We don't know what the full extent of consciousness is, right? You know, some believe that when you die, it's nothing but blackness. It's a long sleep. It's without conscious, right? Without consciousness. Other people, like myself, believe that there's more that transpires once you get to the other side of this veil. Once you get outside of this physical body, you know, there's so much more to experience. And how could we ever possibly know, right? We don't really know. We all have our beliefs. We all have our thoughts. We all have read different testimonies of what people imagine happens in the afterlife, what's going on, what the universe really means. Are we actually operating in a system that's run on frequency and vibration? Chances are, yes, we are. Why? Because there's so many people much smarter than us that have done the work, that have done the investigations. They've dug into it with scientific theory to determine energy, theory, waves, vibrations, and everything in life operates on that, right? So we don't really need to get too spiritual in this conversation, but what I do want to tell you is, in my opinion, there is an operating system at play here, that operating system being the universe. The universe is always at play, and the only thing that I think that we are able to do with this fantastic imagination of ours is create. You know, I had this theory or this thought probably about 1 or 2 years ago where I just kind of came to this conclusion about what it actually means to imagine. Why do we have an imagination? Like, does the dog walk around the house with an imagination? Does an elephant sit there and while it's digging for water, is it just sitting there imagining things? No, I don't think it is. I think the reason that we have an imagination is for the purpose of creation. And I think the purpose of creation is to develop and design your own reality. So I do believe that we are capable of actually creating our reality. I do believe that in order for us to be able to create something, for us to be able to have a certain existence, we need to first see it in our head. And second, just like many of the smarter people that have come before us, we need to live in that end state. We need to feel what it feels like before we actually have that thing. So when you're getting ready to go to your, birthday party as a kid, your 12th birthday party's coming up, your sweet 16, whatever, and you're just sitting there thinking about it a month beforehand, who's going to be there, how awesome it's going to be when old friends show up, you guys are going to be doing it, in June or July when the weather's really nice outside. You're going to this location. It's going to be so much fun. You just sit there and kind of dwell in that imaginative state. And you just create. You create. And in the meantime, while you're creating, you're also feeling, you're emoting, you're producing all this emotion about that event, and that event hasn't even happened. Much like having a conversation about going skydiving, much like having a conversation about, going swimming with sharks. You don't need to be there to start feeling what it feels like, that nervousness, that tension, that, the sweaty palms that you start to develop without actually being there. That is how powerful your imagination is. So when you're thinking about what you're going to do with your life, when you're thinking about, that ideal relationship that you want, when you're thinking about that ideal job that you want, that next phase of life that you want to move into, you have to understand that there is a process in play, right? There's a process that we have to go through. Nothing is going to come to us too easy, and we don't want it to come to us too easy, because what would happen if we actually were able to produce with a single thought? Do you know how much bad shit would actually happen to you over the course of your life? Every time you think something bad and it happens just like that, that those nights where you're driving down the road and it's a little icy and you're like, oh my God, what if I just spun out and flew off this bridge? If it were easy to create like that, then that would be terrifying. right? So for us to be able to create something, for us to be able to produce this reality that we want to live in, we need to be able to see it, we need to be able to feel it, and most importantly, we need to be able to stay in that reality inside of our head consistently, regardless of how our 3D world appears, regardless of our circumstances, regardless of the fact that you want to earn $25,000, $50,000 a month and you're earning $3,000 a month, and you're like, oh my God, how could I possibly feel what it feels like to be in that state if I'm always in this state? Well, you have to imagine. There's a reason why you want to be in that state. There's a reason why you want to be in that life, why you want to earn that money, why you want to have that relationship, because deep down it's going to make you feel a certain way. It's not just having that thing for the sake of having it, right? We want money because money gives us freedom. We want relationships because relationships make us feel loved. We want things because they do these things to us, so we know in advance what it's going to feel like if we could have that end state. So the key is to sit there and continue to feed ourselves those pictures, those feelings, those thoughts, those smells, those actions, see everything in your mind. Now, where does being tested come into this? Because I was having a conversation with one of my friends, and we were looking at 2024, and both of us are, while we're not in the same position that we started off 2024 in, we are in a different position, but we're not where we want to be. And I said to her, you know what? The reason why is because we gave up on those things. We had this focus, we had this goal, and we let life get in the way. We let jobs get in the way. We let, these burdens, these obstacles, these things just continue to pile up on us. And eventually we just took our goal, whatever it was that we wanted to do for the last year, and we put it on the back burner because we had to focus on all these things in front of us. But these things in front of us, while they are often necessary to address, they're also necessary to see as the obstacles that they are, the tests that they are, the things that the universe is giving to us to see if we're serious about what we say that we want. So when you say, hey, I want to earn this much a month, I want to create this business, I want to start this venture, I want to move from here to there, I want this kind of relationship. Well, you can get those things. You can have those things. You can be those things, but don't expect these things to come to you without some sense of consistency, without facing roadblocks, because the universe needs to know, are you serious about this? Or is this a fleeting thought? Do you really want somebody in your life who's going to be like this? Or are you just feeling lonely in the moment? Do you really want to move up the chain at work? Do you really want that level of responsibility? Or are you just feeling like underappreciated right now? It's necessary for us to have these roadblocks. It's necessary for us to face these setbacks, these difficulties, so that we can show the universe, we can show life, yes, I don't care, throw that at me, put that in my way, obstruct me in that way. I'm still going after that goal, no matter what. And I can tell you, I'm not in the position of many of these successful people. But over the last few years, I've read the biographies of some very, very famous, successful people. And we're talking Elon Musk, Steve Jobs, Ray Kroc, Phil Knight, the founders of Lego. I've read all of their stories, and I can tell you one thing that they did, one thing that they maintained was consistency in the process. And like I've said before, if you read the Lego story, you would be amazed. There's no way this company should exist today. With the amount of setbacks they had, it was almost like somebody was continuously just kicking them down, and now Lego is the largest toy company in the world. Explain that. How does that happen? The setbacks that Elon Musk faced with the rockets, one after another. He just kept testing, and finally he pinned it all on this one event. We face setbacks, we face obstacles, and we are meant to face those obstacles. So if you feel like you're not being tested, you are. But I urge you to look at these tests as the positive aspect in life that they are, the good thing that they are, because if you don't have any obstacles, perhaps you just don't have any ambition. Perhaps you're just not looking to grow or change or, undergo this metamorphosis where you become something so much more than you are right now. So I would say, look at the obstacles in life with a sense of grace. Look at them and think, okay, this stinks. It's not what I had in mind, but this is here for me. This was intentionally put before me to see how I'm going to navigate through it. You know, I might be on my way to producing a company, and then all of a sudden I lose my job that was supposed to pay for this company. And that's exactly what happened to me. So while I'm working one job, I'm trying to support another one. I'm trying to raise this company, and it's difficult. It's difficult, but it's even more difficult when you lose that job. But that is the most important point where you can show the universe, where you can show life, hey, you can throw whatever you want at me. I'm not giving up. I'm not stopping. I'm not abandoning this. It's going to be a little bit more challenging, but I will become resourceful. I will find a way. I will get around this obstacle, and I will continue on that path. And just like everyone else who has been successful or who is successful today, they will tell you they did not have their success handed to them. They had to undergo miles and miles of obstacles. They had to undergo one difficulty after another, but they did it. It's all about consistency. So if you feel like you're not being tested, I can promise you, you are. The universe is testing you, and it's up to you to how you answer. It's up to you to show it that you're serious, or maybe it's just a fleeting thought. That's all I have.